So I wanted to share a little bit of a personal story with you today. A story of how I got into running and how that one simple New Year's resolution completely changed me, my health, my belief in myself, and my whole career. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Gillian, or Coach G. I am the host of Your Running Coach with GMacSpurr podcast and the owner of GMacSpurr Coaching. I am a running mindset coach and I help runners of all levels, from brand new, having never laced up before, right up to and including ultramarathoners. I help them take steps to achieve their running goals whilst having so much fun. So back to me. Back in 2014, I moved from Scotland to Canada, got rid of so much of my possessions, coming to a new country, new opportunities, new job, new friend circle. I was ready for a new version of me, Gillian 2.0, if you will. Because at that point, I was really unfit, really unhealthy, and in denial of where I was with my health. Like, I did no movement whatsoever. I definitely did not see movement as something that I should be doing or need to do, or that it was, I did marathons, but it was watching DVD box sets. I didn't go to a gym. I didn't have any interest in sports, nothing, nada, absolutely nothing. So the idea of being a runner when I moved to Canada was just not on my radar. I had done some runs in the, decade prior to moving to Canada, but I could probably count on one, maybe two hands how many runs I had actually done. I just couldn't understand how people enjoyed running, how they were able to catch their breath, how they were able to run with a smile on their face, because I struggled and I quit often within the first 3 to 5 minutes of every run. So the idea of being a runner would blow 2014 Gillian's mind. But in moving to Toronto, at this point it was fall, so the weather was changing. It was getting cold. I think there was quite a bit of snow pre-Christmas that year. But Torontonians were still outside. They were still doing movement outside despite the weather being cold or rainy or snowy or minus temperatures. They were enjoying being outside, which was a completely new concept to me. Like, when the weather wasn't particularly pleasant in Scotland, I didn't want to go outside. I most certainly didn't want to go outside to go for a run or do any form of movement. But there was something about watching runners in my neighbourhood. They looked like they were enjoying it. And I kind of wanted that too. I had no idea how to become them, but there was something there. I was intrigued. I wanted to give it a shot. And if I'm being honest, I think also I wanted to get healthy. I wanted to be fit. And the idea of joining a gym was quite intimidating, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a new hobby until I was really knew that I was interested in it. Like, I didn't want to commit to a type of gym, or like I didn't want to go to a yoga studio or Pilates studios or do CrossFit or anything that required me to buy a membership or specialist gear. I just wanted to be able to lace up and run. Like, I thought it was free. So in 2015, when the bells rang out going from 2014 into 2015, I had made a New Year's resolution that I was going to run a 5K. So I started in the March, because this is Toronto and Toronto has a lot of snow, January to March, or certainly it did that year. So March came round and I laced up. I used my very old running shoes. I didn't have any running gear. I would wear my pantyhose or tights, depending on where you are in the world, what you call them. I would put them on underneath an old pair of sweats to keep me warm. I'd have socks on, I'd have my running shoes on. I would have an old sports bra on, a cotton tank top to keep me warm, underneath a t-shirt, just a regular t-shirt, and then a jumper or a sweater on top. I didn't have any running appropriate clothing. I didn't have a watch. I didn't have any hydration bottles or any gear. I had no idea. I didn't have any running friends. I didn't know about running groups on Facebook or hashtags to follow on Instagram or books, vlogs, blogs. I didn't know any of it. I literally put on my clothes and went outside for a run. I was so freaking nervous. I had no clue about training plans, so I didn't know about the run walk method. I would run until I literally couldn't breathe. I would stop, like just hard stop, not even walk. I would just stop where I was on the pavement, the sidewalk, catch my breath, curse under my breath at what I was doing, and then start again. Like there was no structure to my runs, no structure to my intervals. It literally was run until I couldn't breathe, stop, run until I couldn't breathe, stop. And I started with a really small loop around my neighbourhood that over time got a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, and I was able to run a bit further and a bit further, but it was still there that I was running until I couldn't breathe and then kept going. Like I don't even know why I didn't just slow down. Like that's obvious to me now, like just slow down. But yeah, I didn't have a clue. Over time, something just shifted in me. Like it stopped becoming something I had to do and it's something that I wanted to do. I was very disciplined in knowing what days each week I ran. Typically, it was 2 days after work during the week and then once on the weekend. No matter the weather, I went out. I was so focused on achieving a 5K that was really the start of my commitment to myself and to running. And I signed up to a race. It is the Toronto Women's Series. They do a race in May and I think in August. So I'd signed up to the May one, which actually was on my birthday or the day after my birthday. Anyway, it was a birthday celebration weekend. And I got to race day having, done those almost 3 months of training. Because I didn't have a GPS watch or an app, I had no idea how far I was running. I didn't know my pace. I didn't know about my intervals. I just ran. So when I registered for the race, I signed up for those two corrals. There was one where runners would finish within 30 minutes and others that finished after 30 minutes. So I put myself in the second corral, the one that will take longer than 30 minutes. And I vividly remember standing there and I didn't feel like I belonged. I thought I stood out like a sore thumb and that everybody would know that I was new, that I'd never done it before. I even put on a Swatch watch that morning to give the illusion that I had a running watch because I didn't have one. So when crossing the starting line, everyone was like beep, 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 putting their watch on. I pretended to put mine on, even though it was not going to be able to record anything because it was a watch. I don't even know if it had a battery in it. It could have been a dead watch. Anyway, it was more to give the illusion that I might be part of the crowd, but I did not feel it. I was so nervous. Oh gosh, even just thinking about it now, like the butterflies, they were fierce. They were really fierce. I just did not feel like I belonged. But then starting the race, something shifted in me. Like I felt euphoric that I was meant to be here, that this was me. I'm a runner doing the thing, and I enjoyed it so, so much. I had this big, huge grin on my face, and I didn't really have any challenges in the run. Like, I was just so enjoying the experience and knowing that I was running, that I was achieving my goal of running this 5K. Knowing what I know now, I definitely could have run faster. I was really not running as fast as I could have. My breathing was very easy. I was able to talk out loud quietly to myself throughout the race, just kind of doing a bit of running commentary to myself. And I would see runners in the distance and try and kind of catch up with them, and then find someone else to try and catch up with. Anyway, crossed the finish line. Had no idea of my time because obviously I didn't have a watch, and the times weren't posted until later on that day. And got home, and I think I ran it in something like 29 or 28 minutes something. Anyway, it was under 30 minutes, and I could not believe it. But at that point, my my love of running just took off. That weekend, I signed up to a half marathon. It was going to be in September, October, and yeah, committed to the half marathon distance. I never in my life would have imagined that I would have run a 5K, let alone a half marathon. In actual fact, that year I also did a 10K as well. I did the 10K in September, the half marathon in October, and then the following year I did my first marathon. And that one New Year's resolution really marked the Gillian 2.0. At that point, everything changed. Like, my health improved, my energy skyrocketed. I felt more confident in my body and the belief in myself. It slowly stopped being about the goal, and it was a lifestyle. It was a lens through which I started to see all my other challenges differently. It gave me something so much more. It was just so much more than physical fitness. It was so much more than that goal. It was an identity. I started to see myself as that runner, and it wasn't like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. My training was not perfect. I'm not a perfect runner, but I enjoyed having that structure of committing to running and showing up for myself, and holding myself accountable to these things. And that identity has shaped the way I approach life ever since. Looking back, it's incredible to think that that one goal of running a 5K could have had such a ripple effect. It didn't just change my fitness, it changed my mindset, my confidence, and my sense of what was possible. Like I said, the idea of me being a half marathoner, heck no, the idea of me being a 5Ker was absolutely wild. To have become a marathoner and then a coach. Like, what the heck? So if you were listening to this and thinking, I'm not a runner, or I can never do that, or I've tried to run a 5K before and I've not managed, or maybe you've achieved a distance and you're looking towards your next one, I just want you to remember this. It's not about speed or distance or perfection. It's about showing up for yourself imperfectly, even when it's uncomfortable. Not when it's painful, when it's uncomfortable, when you're stretching yourself further than your brain wants you to do it. It's one small step, and it can truly change everything. Not to say that you're going to want to quit your job and become a running coach, but you might. But it's so much more about than just running. It really is life-changing. Not to be dramatic. I promise I'm not being dramatic. But if you hear the story, and if you're in those early days of feeling unfit, unhealthy, or you're overwhelmed with your training, or you're not sure what your next step should be, or you know that you want to get to the starting line of a dream race feeling physically and mentally strong and you're just not sure how, reach out. My information is in the show notes. I would love to hear your story, and if there's an opportunity for us to work together so I can support you in achieving your goals, then that would be amazing. Let me know. Thanks for listening. Feel free to come over to our Facebook community called Your Running Coach with GMacSpurr, where we continue the conversation. And don't forget to follow along the podcast. We have episodes out every week. Okay, bye for now. Thanks for listening. Happy running.